So I chose an Ohio State assessment. It's the Geometry Spring 2019 assessment to analyze. So the first question I looked at was this one, analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the standards, the depth of knowledge level, and then as well as the distractors that we see. The standards are to see content validity, depth of knowledge levels, just to help us out to understand how much the student knows so we can make inferences about the assessment. And then the distractors part is to make sure that the assessment included good question choices so that it might be more difficult for students to find the right answer. And then that shows also, again, their understanding of the content as well as being able to make quality inferences based off of that. So here we say we have the standard, and then we have the depth of knowledge. So this is a level 3. We're working with a scale of 1 to 4, so this is a higher level. So because you're able to interpret information from a graph and provide mathematical justifications. And some of the distractors here, it just is like different pairings of like incorrect cosine relationship as well as a misunderstanding of similar triangles. So the correct answer here is D, correct cosine relationship and understanding of similar triangles. This next question is a level 1 depth of knowledge. So basically they're just performing a routine procedure. So the distractors here, again, it's just they're incorrectly skipping the steps of creating more arcs or identifying the need to move the compass. So the correct answer again here would be D. For this one, we're working with a level 2 depth of knowledge, so kind of still on the lower level just because they're comparing and contrasting statements. Again, we have more distractors here. That something I noticed they did a pretty good job of giving good distractors that would be things that students might actually make mistakes on, not just random answers that they put in here. Again, we have a standard aligned, so that's great. It shows content validity. Here we have another depth of knowledge level 2 because they're retrieving information and translating between tables. So this one was also just a good, solid question. I really thought that this assessment, Geometry Spring 2019 assessment, did a really good job of making sure there's no bias in the questions, as well as having quality distractors that students might actually choose. The last one we looked at was level 1 depth of knowledge, recalling a property and retrieving information from a graphic. And this is working with trying to figure out congruences of triangles. So like 1 is incorrect. They thought side angle instead of side angle, or side angle side. And so just misunderstandings of the different types of congruences. So these are definitely things that students might come across. So I thought those were also great distractors. Something I wanted to note that was interesting is this test only had 8 multiple choice questions. The other 41 questions were constructed response questions. So we just, in this analysis, just wanted to focus on multiple choice. So within those 8 multiple choice questions, we had discussed in class that multiple choice should be randomly assigned answers A through D throughout the assessment with roughly equal distribution throughout. This exam failed to take that tip into consideration. So we can look at the table. So number of correct answers, A 3, B 1, C 0, and D 4, showing that comparing from D, 50% of total answer correct, and C, 0%, not an equal proportion. So it just makes me wonder why they chose that, and if that would have tripped students up. So that's just something interesting that I wanted to note. But overall, I thought this tested a great job of excluding bias, having solid content validity, a wide variety of depth of knowledge levels, and solid distractors, as well as the correct answers. So overall, great test.